Have you ever imagined being at a perfect dinner and suddenly everything turning into a nightmare? Today, we're going to reveal how a simple outing to celebrate turned into a mystery full of secrets and betrayals. Get ready for a story that can change the way you see the people closest to you. Before we dive into this sweeping journey, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you are listening to our story. And get ready to be moved. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Emergency doctors were unable to save the wife of the man who collapsed in the restaurant. However, minutes later, something surprising happened. A cleaning lady rushed to help, and what she did left everyone paralyzed. Alana and Mauricio were celebrating their wedding anniversary in one of the most renowned restaurants in the city. The place had a soft lighting that fell on crystal chandeliers and shiny cutlery that created a perfect environment for an unforgettable night. The tables were filled with fresh flower arrangements, and piano music was in the background, enveloping everything in an elegant and romantic aura. They chose that date to look back on crucial moments in their relationship. Their first date, the extraordinary journeys, and every obstacle they overcame together. Alana wore a navy blue dress that highlighted the sparkle in her eyes and the usual smile. Mauricio, wearing a well-cut suit, displayed the same joy. They talked and laughed, reliving the passion of the early days, exchanging glances that translated complicity and unique memories. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. While they were tasting refined dishes, Mauricio raised his glass and proposed a toast to his wife. He declared in a firm voice how much she had transformed his life and how much he looked forward to the many years they would still have together. Alana, with a touched heart, raised her glass, touched by the words. They toasted, the crystal-clear sound of glasses echoing through the hall. They drank the velvety wine, meticulously selected to pair with the delicacies. However, something began to change inside Alana. An uncomfortable sensation arose in his stomach. At first, she thought it was a slight nervousness or effect of drinking, but the sensation, insistent, increased. She tried to stay focused on the conversation, but an uneasiness hovered, as if a dark cloud was advancing through a clear sky. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Maurice realized that something strange was happening when he noticed the pallor advance across Alana's face, erasing the natural blush that had kept her radiant until then. "Is everything okay?" he questioned, his voice filled with concern. Alana tried to answer but could not make a sound. A vertigo overwhelmed her, giving the impression that the ground was moving. The discomfort quickly gave way to a sharp pain that radiated from the stomach to the rest of the body. She held Mauricio's hand, fear and bewilderment in her eyes. "Mauricio, I'm not feeling well." Before he finished the sentence, his legs weakened. Mauricio, panicked, tried to support her, but she collapsed. The restaurant, in a few seconds, plunged into chaos. The music fell silent, replaced by screams, hurried steps, and calls for help. Alana fainted, and Mauricio hugged her, screaming for help. Waiters and customers approached, and someone was already calling 911. Feeling his heart rumbling, Mauricio wondered what was happening to his wife. Why suddenly did she succumb like that? The restaurant staff acted quickly. They laid Alana on the floor in an attempt to stabilize her while they waited for the paramedics. Mauricio knelt next to her, shaking her hand, not knowing how to help her. It was the first time he had seen himself so powerless in the face of a situation. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Finally, when the ambulance arrived, the paramedics took over. They quickly examined Alana and placed her on the stretcher, efficiently leading her into the vehicle. Mauricio followed every step, refusing to leave his wife's side. They rushed Alana to the hospital. In the emergency room, the atmosphere was one of total urgency. Nurses and doctors ran back and forth, fighting against time to stabilize her. The constant beeping of heart monitors and the frantic whispering of professionals created a suffocating atmosphere. Mauricio, shaken by what he had experienced in the restaurant, tried to assimilate what was happening. He observed everything around him, feeling his heart racing. Medical teams connected Alana to the IV and injected her with medication to regulate her blood pressure, which was dangerously low. As they tracked each change in vital signs, they waited for some positive reaction. However, Alana did not improve. She remained pale, her skin cold, her lips purplish, and her breathing short and irregular. In silence, the doctors looked at each other with tense faces, aware that time was running out relentlessly. They needed to find out what was happening before it was too late. The doctor in charge approached Mauricio. "We are doing everything we can, but we still don't know the cause. We need a clear diagnosis to act with the correct treatment." Mauricio, speechless, just agreed, almost in shock. Simultaneously, laboratory and imaging tests were done urgently. The hospital sent blood samples to the laboratory. The waiting period became a martyrdom for Mauricio, where every minute seemed like an eternity. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Alana, sedated and unconscious, seemed oblivious to the whirlwind that was going on around her. Mauricio held her hand, feeling the chill of his skin, wishing, with all his strength, that it was just a nightmare from which he could awaken. The hours passed, and the medical teams alternated treatments and procedures. Nothing had any effect. Despair hovered, and Mauricio saw the fatigue on everyone's faces. At one point, a nurse entered the emergency room with the first blood results. He handed them over to the doctor, who examined them. There was something there, but not enough for a definitive answer. It was like putting together an enigma without enough pieces. "We have an abnormality in the levels of toxins, but we haven't identified the source," the doctor murmured, still loud enough for Mauricio to hear. "It could be an unusual substance or something that we have not yet detected correctly." The news shook Mauricio. Were they dealing with poisoning? How? They had gone out to dinner at a renowned establishment. Who would do something like that against Alana? His brain was teeming with disconnected hypotheses. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. As time passed, Alana's condition remained serious. Doctors discussed possibilities, considered calling specialists from other areas. Mauricio, helpless, clung to any hope, mentally begging for a miracle. Then something caught his attention. A familiar figure appeared near the entrance. It was Diana, the cleaning lady who had crossed paths with him before. He stood there, watching with a resolute expression. Mauricio experienced a mixture of curiosity and relief when he saw her. Instinctively, I felt that her presence could be meaningful. Diana noticed Mauricio's gaze and approached. In a whisper, he confided, "I spoke to some doctors. They are still looking for answers, but I suspect there won't be much time. If you allow me, I can try to help." Mauricio frowned, uncertain. "But you're not a health professional." "I'm not, in fact." She lowered her gaze. "But I grew up in a community where we use traditional cures. I recognize signs like that. I have an idea of what might be poisoning Alana." The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Mauricio felt an internal conflict. She didn't want to go against the doctors, but something in Diana's eyes inspired confidence, as if she had knowledge that went beyond that clinical room. The doctor in charge returned, bringing bad news. We are running out of options. If we can't stabilize it soon, I'm afraid it won't hold up much longer." Those words struck Mauricio like a stab. Alana stared, so fragile on the stretcher. He looked at Diana, remembering the determination he had seen in that look. He decided that he could not ignore any path. "Do whatever it takes," he murmured, almost voiceless, looking at the doctor and then Diana. "I trust you." Diana bowed her head in agreement. It was a dangerous chance, but standing idly by didn't suit her. He went in search of what he needed, returning shortly afterwards with a bottle of dark liquid, something he had hastily prepared with ingredients he had found in the hospital. He explained that it was a traditional antidote of extreme use. The doctors were visibly apprehensive. The team boss recalled protocols, but Mauricio pleaded, "Please, just try. It is our only hope." Against his will, the doctor agreed. The situation was desperate. Nothing else worked. With precision, Diana administered the antidote to Alana under the tense eyes of everyone. For a few minutes, there was no reaction. Mauricio waited for Alana's every breath, hoping for a subtle change. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Suddenly, a faint breath escaped Alana's lips, barely perceptible. But for Mauricio, it was like a divine sign. He grabbed her hand, feeling a remnant of warmth return to his icy skin. Soon, the monitors indicated that blood pressure stabilized and breathing returned to normal. Little by little, the color returned to her face. Doctors and nurses exchanged looks of relief and surprise. "She will recover," the doctor concluded. A small smile appeared, relieving the tired expression. Mauricio could hardly believe it. A wave of gratitude swept over him, and his eyes turned to Diana, the cleaning lady who had performed a miracle where science was still groping in the dark. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Relief aside, Mauricio was gripped by growing unrest. What had happened in the restaurant for Alana to be on the verge of death? His mind did not stop sifting through every detail in a frantic search for explanations. With Alana asleep, in clear improvement, Mauricio approached Diana before she left the emergency room. "How did you know?" he questioned urgently. "How did you recognize that she had been poisoned?" Diana carried in her eyes a silent wisdom. He took a deep breath. "I learned in my community. I grew up in a place where there were no hospitals around, and we had to deal with illnesses in a natural way. From an early age, I was taught to notice signs of poisoning. But you were so sure." "It was a hypothesis based on experience," he explained. "The color of her skin, her irregular breathing, the signs of intoxication. I've seen this before. It would be my omission not to try something." Mauricio was silent, absorbing every word. There was more to the story, however. "Why did you take a risk?" he asked, still shaken. "You could lose your job or face accusations." "Sometimes human life is worth more than any protocol," she said simply. "I knew it was risky, but I couldn't see you losing Alana without trying." The words touched Mauricio deeply. He felt the complexity of this woman, whose compassion and courage went beyond any function or formality. As she reflected, she noticed another detail. Diana seemed restless, as if she intuited that this was not an accident. "Do you think it was intentional?" Mauricio questioned, sensing the answer. "I wouldn't ignore that hypothesis," she said seriously. "The symptoms were very specific and evolved too quickly. Now that Alana is out of immediate danger, we need to understand what happened." A chill ran through Mauricio. The idea that someone could have tried to kill Alana was haunting, but in a way, it explained the urgency of the situation. He mentally reviewed the perfect night that had turned into a nightmare. "Do you trust me?" Diana stared at him. He hesitated for a moment, but he had no choice. I trust. So, we need to investigate, but carefully. If there was really deliberate poisoning, the person can try again, and we can't risk Alana's safety. Mauricio agreed, feeling a growing weight on his shoulders. Without realizing it, I was about to enter a world where certainties would turn to dust, and the usual laws would not apply. The absolute priority was to protect Alana. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Diana's mind was racing. He needed to act prudently, but his determination was greater than fear. Her experience in alternative treatments also came with a sixth sense for hidden dangers. "We need to get you out of here," Diana commented abruptly. "Why?" Mauricio was surprised. "It's the hospital. It's not safe. Someone can arrive and finish what they started, if that is the case." As strange as it sounded, Diana's conviction was contagious. "Where are we going?" "To my house. It's far away and almost no one knows I live there. It's simple, but we can take care of it without attracting attention." Mauricio took a deep breath, remembering that Diana had saved Alana and trusting that instinct that screamed for him to accept. "Let's go." Decision. Using her influence as a hospital employee, Diana arranged for Alana's departure with discretion. Soon they left the place, fleeing from onlookers and possible threats. The night seemed to advance in a silent and tense way as they headed for the refuge. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Upon arriving at Diana's modest house in a quiet area of the city, Mauricio realized that despite being simple, the environment was welcoming. There were decoration elements that mixed rustic with contemporary objects, creating a unique atmosphere. They accommodated Alana in a guest room. She was still sedated, still recovering. Diana and Mauricio sat in the living room, immersed in a dense silence. Only the wind murmured outside. "There's something you didn't tell me." Maurice broke his silence, staring at Diana. "You know more than you say." She held her gaze. He was not one to make accusations without evidence, but his instinct pointed to something bigger. "In this life, I learned that when things seem wrong, there is usually something hidden. From the moment I laid eyes on Alana, I realized that this was not an accident. Someone tried to hurt her. We need to find out who and why." Mauricio felt a cold run through it. Suspecting that it was someone close to the couple was something he avoided, but he couldn't deny Diana's logic. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. With each hour, Diana's distrust of Mauricio increased. She began to recall details of the night in the hospital, the way he seemed more focused on controlling the situation than saving Alana. The idea that Mauricio might have dark motivations crept into his mind. One night, taking advantage of Mauricio's not being there, Diana decided to search the couple's room, taking a risk, but feeling that she needed proof. He rummaged through drawers, papers, until he reached Mauricio's closet. In the corner, he found a small bottle hidden among his clothes. Cautiously, he picked up the glass. Inside, a substance recognizable to those who understand herbs and toxins, something rare and highly lethal. Her heart raced. There was the missing link. Would Mauricio have nefarious intentions? Was he responsible for the poisoning of his own wife? The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Keeping the bottle in a safe place, Diana decided to act without fanfare. If he confronted Mauricio, he could react unpredictably, putting Alana and herself at risk. When Mauricio returned, Diana was already cautious. He knew that that bottle was the key piece, but that he would need more evidence to formally accuse him. In the following days, she began to observe his every step, every attitude, every word. He noticed how Mauricio diverted conversations about what had happened in the restaurant, preferring to change the subject. One evening, Diana found even more clues. Receipts for chemical purchases, dated a few weeks before the tragedy, all capable of composing that toxin. Now, in addition to the bottle, there were documents that indicated meticulous planning. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Aware that the danger was real, Diana concluded that the time had come to protect Alana completely. First, he removed the helpless wife from the house, taking her to a remote cottage belonging to a trusted friend. Alana, still shaken, had to hear the difficult truth. The main suspect was Mauricio, the husband in whom she had trusted her own life. Alana found it hard to believe. He tried to refuse the idea, but Diana's steadfastness, coupled with the evidence, convinced her of the inevitable. With suppressed tears, he agreed to leave the house where he believed he was safe. Already settled in the chalet, Alana was able to rest, free from immediate risk. Diana then made the decision to contact the authorities. He reported everything: the poisoning, the suspicions, the laboratory results. He handed over photos of the bottle and receipts describing Mauricio's hesitant behavior. With this dossier, the police would launch a formal investigation. However, before the police reached Mauricio, Diana returned to the house without showing nervousness. She continued the routine, not wanting him to suspect anything, but inside his heart was beating, aware that the end of that story was approaching. The next morning, the police knocked on the door. Mauricio, taken by surprise, tried to justify himself, but it was in vain. They searched the place and found the bottle, as well as the receipts that confirmed the purchase of toxic substances. With no escape, Mauricio saw everything fall apart. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Diana, from a distance, watched as Maurice was handcuffed and taken away. He felt relief, because Alana was safe, but also a sadness when he realized how deep the abyss Maurice had dug was. With Mauricio's arrest, Diana knew that the worst was over, but also that the emotional wounds would not heal anytime soon. She needed, however, to maintain a firm posture, as Alana still needed support. Meanwhile, Mauricio found himself in a small, cold room, handcuffed to an uncomfortable chair. He looked at the wall in front of him, but his mind wandered on memories that he now despised. The downfall had been swift, and he was still trying to understand how his detailed plan had collapsed at the hands of someone he had thought insignificant. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. The metal door creaked, and Maurice looked up. Alana entered, accompanied by two policemen who withdrew, leaving them alone. She looked like someone else. He had a firmness in his eyes that Mauricio did not know. For an instant, no sound was emitted. Silence carried every lie, every unspoken betrayal. He tried to decipher her expression, but he found no hatred or sadness, only a cold determination. "Why did you do that?" Alana's voice was serene, almost icy, but it showed a deep sorrow. "Why did you try to kill me, Mauricio?" He looked away, unable to face the face he had once kissed so fondly. In his heart, he knew that question would come, but he was not prepared to answer it. The justifications sounded futile in his own head. Money, power, personal liberation. Alana. He started, but his throat dried up. What to say? Admit that it was out of greed, that I was suffocated in a marriage I didn't want to be a part of anymore. Every explanation sounded pathetic. She watched him, hoping for something that made sense. It was the only way out I could find, he murmured, his voice without strength. I was suffocated, trapped in a life he couldn't stand anymore. I saw no alternative but to end everything. She stared at him, analyzing every nuance of his face, and she wondered how she could live so long with someone with such contempt for her life. You could have left me, Alana replied without changing her tone. A divorce, anything. But he decided that I should die. And why? He would like to deny it, but the reason was obvious. Money, power, control, the idea that he deserved more. He built in his own mind the illusion that he was stuck in an unhappy marriage. But now, in front of the woman he had almost murdered, he saw that all the reasoning had been clumsy. It was the money, yes, the power to start over. He lowered his head, not daring to face her. I thought that if you didn't exist, I'd be free. Alana breathed, feeling her heart race, but he forced himself to keep his cool. Free from what, Morris? From me? Of our memories? Is that what we are worth to you? The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Mauricio remained silent. Silence said more than empty words. Alana shook her head in disbelief. You planned everything, every step, every lie. He looked into my eyes, pretending to care, while he poisoned me behind my back. How could it get to this point? The question reverberated. He had no answer. That betrayal was unspeakable. He lowered his head, aware that there was no justification that would mitigate such cruelty. Finally, Alana took a step back. He saw the sharp pain in her eyes, but he also sensed the determination to move on without him. I don't understand what you thought you would get. Her voice trembled slightly. But you've lost everything, Maurice. Not just money, but my confidence, my love, and that will never recover. She turned and left. The click of the metal door seemed to abruptly close that chapter. Mauricio, now alone, felt an emptiness devour him from within, realizing the extent of his mistakes. He had betrayed the only person who really cared. Only the fault remained. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Time passed, and Alana moved on with life, but the emotional scars would take time to heal. She believed that she would not be able to love again. Each day, he mentally relived the scenes, wondering at what moment everything broke. One afternoon, while visiting a bookstore in search of distraction, she met Raphael. He appeared unexpectedly, with a serene smile, commenting on a book that Alana was leafing through. He had a way of speaking that conveyed security, but without invading her space. His gaze possessed calm and gentle curiosity. If you like stories capable of moving the heart, I think you'll love this one, he commented, pointing to the cover. I'm Raphael, by the way. She presented herself timidly, still traumatized by what she had been through. They talked about books, and before saying goodbye, Raphael invited her to a nearby coffee shop in case she wanted to discuss the plot later. Alana, without committing herself, smiled. For days, he thought about the proposal. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. Days later, Alana found herself walking into that coffee shop, the book in hand. She felt insecure, but curiosity guided her. To his surprise, there was Raphael sitting by the window. I knew you would come, he said jokingly. Alana approached, a little awkwardly. They talked, now more naturally. He didn't ask about her past or press for explanations. They talked about literature, music, movies, light matters that gave Alana's mind a welcome relief. They met again in the bookstore, then in the same coffee shop, until these meetings became frequent. There was something about Raphael that reassured her, a welcoming aura. Little by little, Alana felt more confident to share parts of her life, her fears, her sorrows. Raphael listened to her without judgment, offering comfort in the form of words and respectful silence. Over time, Alana discovered that he had also lived through difficult times. It had its own losses, and that exchange created a new bond based on mutual understanding. One night, after he had prepared a simple but very tasty dinner, Alana noticed that for the first time in months, she was relaxed. They sat on the couch of their small apartment, speaking in a low tone, as if there was something sacred in that moment. "Raphael," she called, suddenly turning to him. "I don't know how to thank you for being so good to me." He smiled, taking her hand gently. "You don't need to thank them. I like being here. You deserve someone who does you well." Alana felt the tears welling up, but they were not from sadness. They were of relief and gratitude, perhaps even a hint of feeling that she thought she was unable to relive. With a sigh, she leaned in, closing her eyes, allowing herself to break through the barrier she had erected against the world. In the soft kiss they shared, there was uncertainty, but also hope. It was as if she had taken a step out of the darkness that had enveloped her lately. Raphael returned her with the same tenderness, aware that every move could scare her. The tension in the air seemed to electrify every beat of the hearts present, as if a dark foreboding hovered over that place, about to reveal itself. When they walked away, he wrapped his arms around her, and she felt in that embrace the promise that a less bleak future could indeed exist. At that moment, Alana understood that she was ready to start over, step by step, without haste. What Maurice had done to her had left wounds, but it had not destroyed her. Now, with Raphael by her side, she saw that there was still life after the pain. There was still love, even if remnants of fear persisted. And so, she decided to open herself up to a different tomorrow, willing to write a new chapter in her story. The tension in the air, little by little, turned into relief, driving away the shadows that had once almost robbed him of his future. End